Good morning, all, and welcome to the 2022 Post-Harvest Huddle. We are super excited to be with you guys today. As always, our product team has been working hard behind the scenes to bring you a lot of the great data that you guys collected all throughout the growing season. So with that, we have just a couple things to go over before we get started. We are going to start with our corn lineup, and then stick around. We're going to do a quick door prize on some of the things that we've been telling you about. And then we'll finish off with our soybeans and then a quick wrap up with John and I. But first, before we get started, wanted to make sure that you had opportunities to ask questions like you always do throughout this entire hour and a half that we will be with you today. So if you look on your screen, on the lower right-hand corner, there is a blue button, and you can go ahead and submit your questions there. We will be watching as those come in and then have some time for Q&A at the end of each session. Don't forget, for those that registered before the 15th for the Viking tickets, you also have to ask a question. So we've had a handful already submitted, so thank you for those. You've all been in the drawing for that. If you haven't, there's still time, and you can ask questions here throughout the next hour and a half. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to John and the product team.
All right. Thanks, Amy. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us this morning. Welcome to the Post-Harvest Huddles. Hope you had a great harvest. What a crazy year you've had up north between early planting. It was very difficult with all the wet weather, and then we got into dry conditions, but you've survived it all and came out, and we've got some really good results to talk about. Really excited about all the data that we've got. Remember, the data was emailed to you, so you can be looking through the data while you're listening along. So make sure if you didn't get that email, look for it in your email, and it should be there. A couple other things, Latham research. I want to talk about, we're really excited about that. We've got all the data we've got. I want to kind of explain real quick what we're talking about. First of all, the FIRST trials. I think everybody knows what the FIRST trials are. They're independent third-party trials that we did extremely well. Really proud of the results, and I'll be talking about those throughout the day here this morning. And then the elite trials, those are Latham run trials, and Lyle and Matt will be talking about those here throughout the day. And then our showcase trials, those are plots that you, dealers, and customers put together. So we've got a great combination of all the different data that we're going to be sharing. Amy mentioned the questions. You can ask a question throughout the day. We're going to try to get back to all the questions, but knowing that there's going to be a lot of questions because we're requiring them to get those opportunity to get the Vikings tickets. So there'll be a lot of questions. We'll try to get to them live, but if we don't, we'll get back to you later. So with that, I want to introduce our corn product manager, Lyle Marcus, is here. And welcome, Lyle. How are you doing this morning?
Hey, John. Great to be here. Great to see everybody. I guess I don't see you, but you can see me, right? So great to be here. We got, like John said, a ton of data to go through today. So we're going to go through some slides with some certain highlight bullet points on them. You have your deck that we sent to you yesterday, so you can take notes there. When we're done with today's sessions tomorrow, I think you'll get an email while you receive what we're going to show today. So you'll have all of the information ready to go out and have successful sales year. So with that, I think we'll just jump in, right?
Okay, it sounds great.
Here we go. So my clicker works right. Here we go. So as John mentioned, a lot of our area saw some delayed planting. It was really wet last spring. It was cold, and there's some struggles throughout the country. But we actually did a pretty good job. You and your customers really did a nice job of getting the plan that you put in place in the ground and not making a lot of switches. And that really paid off. When we look at the season, we started out low GDU accumulation. It was a little bit of a struggle. Things started to pick up in July. Throughout the summer, we were good. We ended up with a lot of drought out in Nebraska and western Iowa. That was the worst areas. But for the most part, the rest of us did a pretty nice job of getting the crop going. When we planted last spring, we were really concerned that we were going to have wet corn and not be able to harvest dry corn, but Mother Nature really helped us out, and we had a great season. So the other thing that we saw is that when you stuck to your plan, that we saw the results that we wanted to, right? It didn't get late. We didn't need to switch to that earlier hybrid. And so that was a real story for us this year, a learning process for us to really think about that. So we got the best results by sticking with our plan and not switching to the earlier hybrids. So we need to keep that in mind as we go into other years. So I'm passionate about planting depth. And a lot of you, most all of you have probably heard me talk at some point, and I'm passionate about planting depth on corn and on soybeans. It's important to get that root structure going well and doing the right things to have success in that plant. So we did our study again at Premier Agronomy Center. Many of you were able to attend this fall at the field day. We sure invite you to come anytime. That's an exciting place for us to showcase some different things. But we planted again this year, and we were able to actually take it to yield, which is really kind of cool. And so we're enhancing our abilities there. But we planted 1.25 inches, 2.5, and 3 inches. And there was a 6.8 bushel advantage to the 2.5 over the 1.25 inches.
Wow.
And we jumped up to 17 bushel more with the 3-inch planting. So getting that root system going and stuff, it's really key. So now we've done this 3 years, just looking at ear size pictures and all that kind of stuff. Now we're starting to put the yield data along with it. So it really pays off. And I know there's a lot of you in the audience that are really paying attention to this. So keep encouraging your customers to do that. That can help us get off to a nice year all the time. There's lots of videos on YouTube. You can go right to the dealer center. I got a number of videos there that you can look at that show this, and you can share them with your customers and help with those pointers. So I'm just passionate about that, and some people think I'm crazy, but
no, Lyle's done an awesome job, and I think you've made a lot of Latham customers money by getting the plant deeper, and the results are undeniable. I mean, at the Alexander Premier Agronomy Center, it was just night and day difference with the planting depth. So great job for that.
Yeah, and the standability was really key this year, right? We had a lot of rootworm in our center there, and we were thinking, well, we should tear that up. No, but it told a story. That 1.25 inch planting didn't have any roots, and the little bit of rootworm feeding that was on there really caused major problems. We had standability, and so it was a very good showcase and really good data. So
yeah,
fun to do. So with that, I think we'll just jump right into some hybrids. How's that sound?
Hey, sounds good. One thing I forgot, and I want to do the overall first trials for this area. I forgot to mention that, and it's kind of the highlight for me. I'm very passionate about the trials. I love this time of year, and just so super excited about the performance in Minnesota and the Red River Valley. So when you combine Minnesota and the Red River Valley, on corn side of things, we had 8 wins, 28 top 5s, 74 top 10s on the corn side. Now we'll be talking about soybeans in a little bit. 11 wins on soybeans, 35 top 5s, which is amazing, and 61 top 10s. So I'll put our performance in the north up against anybody with that kind of independent first trials. So really excited about that.
Yeah, when you look at that data in the first trials and you think about the top 10s you talked about, and you look at the LSD on that trial, that's really insignificantly different from number 1. It's always really cool when we can be the number 1 product. But when you look at the LSD of those trials, and their trials are run very well, they're replicated, and so you can trust the LSD in there. And so many times we're within the statistical error of first place,
right?
Even when we're 8, 9, and 10. So yeah, our performance is awesome in those first trials. So
yeah, love it.
So
I'll let you take it away to the first product.
Yeah, we'll dig into our earliest hybrid here, LH2977, that early double pro that we have. This thing did great in the first trials this year. Didn't have a win, but it was right up at the top. It was in an NDSU trial out at Minot, just stellar out there. Really showed up nice there too. It was well above trial mean in all of our elite trials. So this thing really does a nice job for us. It's got great ear size. It does have a little more fixed ear type to it, so keep the population up. Big plant, can be a dual purpose hybrid as well, but really needs to be sold up around north of Highway 2 in North Dakota widely, and can do a good job for us up there. So
yeah, great yield at 79 days.
Yep,
for sure.
Yep. Oops, I hit the wrong clicker. 3035. Excellent plant structure on this one. Excellent value for price conscious growers. We got this priced really nice. It's a nice package to put with the 2977 or the 3325 we'll talk about in a little bit here. We want to position on fields where we can push a population just a little bit though, because it's got a little bit of a fixed ear on it. So really an added hybrid in here for us to just kind of fill in and do some nice things with. Next one, we'll jump in 3325. This
I really
thing,
like this one.
this thing is outstanding.
Yeah.
200 bushel at Felton, Minnesota in the
Wow.
first trials, right?
Yeah.
Here you got an 83-day hybrid, 200 bushel an acre. Unbelievable, doing a great job for us. Test weight is awesome. It was the best thing in the Minot trial out there, well above trial mean in 2022 in the elite trials, doing a great job for us. Moves well into southern North Dakota as well. We can move this thing down into the southern part and into the northeast part of South Dakota. So that flex ear allows a lot of movement around, and this thing is stellar and consistent. 3 years in a row now, it's been cranking out these kind of numbers.
Yeah,
So,
the data is showing it can yield with a lot later products too. And
Right.
then you get that early, get that dry down. So you're gonna have a dry product, but a lot of yield. So a
Right.
great combination.
exactly. 3695, the 86-day double pro. This one we don't want to push far north, right? The flowering on it, we want to keep it Grand Forks and south. Consistent performance in the first trials again in 22. It did a nice job there too. 200 plus bushels across a wide area, east to west. Lots of different places that you'll see in the data that we provided where it's 200 plus bushel yields. I think this is the one that Gary sent the little picture to John and I. It was 300 bushels on the yield monitor on his farm. So this thing has potential to really crank out some yield.
For
So
sure.
yep, moves into South Dakota, northeast South Dakota very well also. So really, if you're not using this one with the customer, jump on it. The new one, LH3867. Similar position-wise, we don't want to push this too far north from a flowering standpoint. Yielded well in some really tough drought conditions in northeast South Dakota. In the elite trial there at Sisseton, it did a really nice job. So it handles some drought stress really nice. Medium late flowering, so we want to watch that north movement. But it can move down into South Dakota on that Buffalo Ridge where we start to deal with elevation causing some differences there. It's going to do a nice job there. Its emergence score is really good for those cold, tough soils in the springtime, and it dries down really nice in the fall. So a great product for us, and the data somewhat limited because we didn't get in as many showcases planted as we wanted to, but a great product for us. That new hybrid doing excellent. So.
Yeah, don't let the lack of data stop you on this one. I mean,
Right.
internally, we were really high on this product. I think it's got a lot of upside.
Exactly. 3937, kind of our king in the late 80-day maturity. Again, remember this one is one of the Seeds of Hope hybrids. So for every unit sold, we donate $1 to cancer. 4 top 10 finishers in the first trials. Lots of elite trials that did very, very well there also. Consistent performance year over year over year. I mean, this is really a key player, and that's why we've got it as one of our Seeds of Hope hybrids, right? But also moves south really well. Some of the guys got into some delayed planting situations, and I'm not big on recommended moving maturity, but we got down way towards June and we moved this into southern Minnesota, and just awesome success with that really, really late planting. So a good hybrid there too. So
yeah, you'll see on your data, it won our elite trials at Sisseton and it won at Morton. So great performance in this product. It's been doing it for the last 3 years.
Right.
It's just been outstanding.
Yep.
So it's a big gun.
So 4375 is the next one. This has been in the lineup for a number of years. Still doing a great job in a lot of different places. I mean, the yield data that we're sharing, awesome performance, right? So I wonder why we don't get it positioned all the time in some growers that we think that should be in. My suggestion is to keep it east of I-29 and over towards 71 and over into eastern Minnesota. It's going to do very, very well. So I think maybe we're dealing with a little bit of stress issues when we go way out west into South Dakota. So I-29 east, in the locations of the 102 test for the elite trials, we were 118% of trial mean on yield.
Wow.
I mean, so this thing can really crank out some yield. So position it east of I-29, definitely take it over into Wisconsin and that early side. That's really its best fit and where we should go with it. So
yeah, first place at Glendon, Minnesota. So awesome performance.
Yep. 4454. I don't know. This is just just plant me, right? Isn't that
Right.
what this one
It's
says?
tough to screw it
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
It
I
just-
mean, it's durable. It handles stress. It handles tough conditions. It just does everything, and it's consistent, right? The one thing we do see sometimes in plots, it maybe doesn't come to the top all the time. It's a little shorter hybrid, and it struggles a little bit in winning plots. But you put it out in a whole field basis, farmers love it. So this is a cornerstone of our 95-day maturity class. Again, in our elite trials this year in set 102, 50% of the time it was above trial mean, which is awesome when we're dealing with just those 4-row plots and a lot of shading going on. So we're happy with that. And farmers really like the stability of this hybrid. It's just consistent and been super good for us. So.
Yeah, to me, this is the definition of workhorse. This thing, year in and year out, you get a dry year, it's still going to be right there.
Yep.
In a wet year, it may not win trials, but it's always going to be solid.
Yep, yep. And a lot of times when we talk about workhorse hybrids, guys start to think, well, it peters out on yield. This thing doesn't. I mean, this is a workhorse durability that has a lot of yield into it. So
for sure,
keep using that one. This one's brand new. Wow. Guys, there's so much talk about this one. The 4527 VT2 Double Pro drought guard thing. Great new hybrid for that drought area. So when I looked at the plots out in South Dakota and in western Minnesota where we got really droughty this year, this thing was just unbelievable. It did very good. And the data shows it. Many dealers commented at different times to me, whether it be at a showcase that they looked at or an elite trial that we toured, just how attractive the hybrid was. Up at Sisseton, South Dakota, that trial was super, super dry, and this thing was really nice there. Consistent in our elite trials, so you can see the consistency from location to location. There wasn't a lot of fluctuation in data there, so that's great. It also performs great under moisture, right? So it's not just the drought hybrid. So 4527, great addition to the lineup. It was super in 21 in our elite trials, definitely earned its place, improved it again this year. So we need to get after this one.
Yeah, several of these products get on order because you usually after we get the word out on these things go fast, and this one especially, this is going to go really fast when they see the data on it.
This isn't on the bet that Amy and I have. We'll talk about a couple bet hybrids here a little bit later, but
sounds good.
Next one is 4657. Well, this thing's performance this year is just stellar. I mean, again, it's there. It's meant to be a companion to 4454, a little bit taller, more robust plant. Continued great performance this year. Testimonials of consistency that I've gotten from different RSMs and dealers, just amazing what we're seeing there. Outstanding elite trial performance, placed first overall in our set 103 this year. Wow. Again, and it continually does that. So it's a great companion with the 4454, and emergent strength. Show it again in 2022 with those cold soils. We had perfect stands with it. And so, yeah, this thing, keep moving on this one. Great fit, especially in that central Minnesota area, out into South Dakota. I mean, this is just a king for those guys in that area.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, this is a sister to 4454, but it's got more yield potential, even top end than 4454. Yep. It's really shown it the last few years.
Yep. The other half of it adds a little plant height, but that's okay. There's no structure issues or anything like that. But yeah, great product for us.
Absolutely.
4669 Smart Stacks. So this is our earliest Smart Stacks today. We're still looking for some earlier things. We know this audience especially has asked us to find some things, sub 90 day. We're still working on that. Got a lot of things in the plans here, but this thing does an awesome job if you have rootworm issues. And I know if I'm talking to this audience, there's more and more of you are seeing rootworm issues in your marketplace. So we want to keep focusing on that kind of stuff. North to south performance on this thing. We can run this all the way up to Fargo, and I know there's guys clear down by Esterville, Iowa using it as well. So it has very good range north and south. Strong showing in the plots again this year, and really a really key hybrid for us on that rootworm tolerant package. So.
Yeah, we're really seeing a lot of demand for Smart Stacks and Duracade in the north, more than we have. It just seems to be growing. So this is a great product.
Yep, that pressure just keeps building.
It does.
4937. We might sell out of this one. And this thing has only been in the line at 3 years now.
Yeah.
And you look at the data that we shared with you and the first trials and those kind of things, I think it actually has got more wins or getting really close to having a faster pace of getting there than 5245 does. So this might have its own Twitter page in another year. We'll have to see.
It should. It's actually tied right with 5245. They each have 13 wins overall in the first trials.
Yep.
So, and I don't know, 4937 might just overtake it eventually here, but it's a heck of a hybrid at 99 days.
Really excels in high yield environments. It was great. And it was the early hybrid in our 104 test set, and the yields, everything were above trial mean. So you didn't see a winner in that, it didn't win the set, but that set went all the way up to 106-day corn. Right. So, it'd be cool if it won, but then we wouldn't sell any 106-day corn, right? So great performance there. Showcase results are awesome. Farmer testimonials, grower testimonials from RSMs are awesome on this thing too. So definitely put 4937 in the mix. And we've talked about it enough times. Remember, don't place it on those tan soils, right? That severe drought stress you can get on super sandy or heavy clay soils, that's the only place you want to keep away from it. Otherwise, you can put it any place else and perform very well for you.
Yeah, this should be on everybody's farm in the southern half of Minnesota.
Yes.
It's just such a dominating product.
Absolutely. 4989 Smart Stacks. This thing continued to perform again. And again, I think it's showing even a little bit better because we're starting to see that rootworm pressure in this marketplace, right? Mm-hmm. So it's starting to have a little more of a standout over some of the double pros in the lineup in that maturity. So performance really shows on long-term corn on corn with growers. Outstanding in our showcase plots again this year. And it did really well in the elite trials position where it was. The dry down was super great with this thing. Intactness is awesome. I love that girthy ear, high grain quality, great test weight, a great product.
Yeah, absolutely. 99 days.
Yep. 5008 Smart Stacks Pro. We talked about this at kickoff. Wow, this thing is awesome, right? I watched it all summer. I was really excited about it. I got to a time where I was starting to see ear development, and I'm like, gosh, John, I don't know. It's just, I'm a little nervous. It's not there. But wow, we hit that combine in it, and it was holding that ear up nice and tight. They were nice and intact, but it just hid that grain potential, the yield potential I had. It just hit it. So when we looked at the test results that you can see that we shared, awesome performance here. So really happy with the Smart Stacks Pro launch. We have 2 hybrids in that area. So we're going to be great here. Remember, position your Smart Stacks Pro products on the heaviest corn rootworm pressure acre. You know, the long-term corn on corn or where there's lots of rootworm pressure history, that's where we want to put these. But yeah, 5008, I'm super excited about what that's going to do for us in the future.
Yeah, this would be a great opportunity to try the newest technology out there, Smart Stacks Pro, and it's a great hybrid too. You know, in the past, when we started Smart Stacks, it was out, people wanted it, but then we pulled them back because we just didn't like the genetics. Yep. Well, we're really comfortable with the genetics and think this goes in a lot of spots. Yep. And give people a really good representation of the technology.
Right. Yep, exactly. Here's another one, brand new, 5034 AA. This one, I got super excited about it 2 years ago. I saw it the first time in a pre-commercial trial, saw it again in 21 in a pre-commercial trial. I told John, I said, we have to launch this hybrid. So we're bringing it forward. We were limited on our test seed availability. So unfortunately, we didn't get a lot of it into your showcase plots, right? It was throughout our elite trial data set. We did not get it in first trials either. And then we had it in a number of showcase, a couple large scale performance things, I guess is what I should say. So I've got positioned with a couple RSMs, got some large scale comparisons. So we had one up in northern part of Minnesota, north central Minnesota against 4669. The data shows, performance there was much better than the 4669. Getting a little bit more maturity there, right? So that stands to reason. Side by side with 4937 in the Wabasso area, like 2 bushel different, right? I talked to, we had it down in Iowa as well, 4937. No difference in yield, right? We carry a little bit more moisture, but it's an artesian hybrid. So we're carrying a little bit of plant health. That's still a 100-day hybrid. It flowers as a 100-day, but the great results that we saw. when I start to break down the elite trials in different fashions, and it's hard to do and present, but you'll see some of this coming in the next couple months by location. And I look at the data, it had more 200 bushel hits over multiple locations than any hybrid that we had in that maturity set. So really excited about this thing. It's awesome stability, stands nice, more moderate stature. It's a little bit shorter than 4937. Plant integrity is awesome. The artesian thing is definitely real on this thing. So out into South Dakota in that 100-day maturity, definitely get after this one. We need to sell out of this one.
Yeah, we get in a dry year, you're going to want that artesian protection.
Yep.
And this looks like you're going to have a little more plant health too to get you through.
Yep.
So definitely one to put in the mix.
Yep. So LH5049, another Smart Stacks companion there to go with 4989. Showed up really well again this year. So I know we struggle a little bit because a couple years ago we had that really hot winds blow through Iowa and kind of hurt 5047 and 5049, overstressed them. And so some guys stopped planting them, right? The data shows that we should keep planting them. I mean, you look at the data that we provided to you. These hybrids, 5047, 5049, fit best in the 2 tiers of counties on either side of the Iowa-Minnesota border, right? So that's where you want to go with them. Great emergence, works well in the no-till acres, and we didn't use the 49 in our elite trials this year, but the data from last year definitely supports where we need to be. So that's where you want to position those 2 hybrids, and we'll have some great success there too.
Sounds good.
LH5159 Smart Stacks. This thing fits a large footprint, east to west, north and south, doing a great job. Got a testimonial from Southeast Minnesota just the other day that this handled a tar spot really well in that part of the world. So kind of maybe our first early hybrid there that we can talk about tar spot on. It's hitting the mark right on all the elite trial stuff, doing everything that we want it to do. Emergence score is a 2, but I didn't see any issues at all in 2022 with emergence, no issues there at all. So definitely look at 5159 as that 101-day Smart Stacks hybrid. It's going to be a key product for us across southern Minnesota, and we can move this up into that Morris area even. It'll handle moving up north from a flowering date standpoint, so it's a good product for us there too. So
yeah, it's really growing in popularity.
Yep.
The order, this will sell out too. So get this on order if you'd like some of this.
Get myself caught up to speed here. The LH5209, the Duracade Viptera hybrid that we launched a couple years ago, showing up really well. 265 bushels at Cannon Falls, Minnesota this year. In that, I think that was an elite trial or a first trial. 246 in Mankato. This thing also has some good tar spot tolerance. So as we move it east, we saw that performance excel in the east over some other products because of the, a little bit of tar spot tolerance there. Now, the other thing about the Duracade Viptera is we're rotating that insect protection characteristics, which is important for us for resistance management and all those kind of things. So keep that in mind. If I were to say anything about 5209 is that the better managed fields are where you're going to have success. If you're going to cheat on fertilizer or something like that, go with 5159 or 5559. But if you can, really help the fertility program within that field, then 5209 is a great product for us to be, and really rotates that insect protection thing. So
yeah, this is one to get on order too, because it won a first trial at Mankato, Minnesota, and it also won the elite trial of Olivia, Minnesota. So it moves north really well. And then, like you said, the tar spot on it's best in class. It's really solid.
Yep. LH5245, just plan it, right?
Just plan it.
When we look at the data, and you look at the data that I shared with you guys, I think there's two pages of data that we were able to share because the performance is so consistent, right? This thing has just been so consistent. Now, are there hybrids like 5377 that are, doing well and helping along? Yeah, but let's just make it a package, right? Sell the package. That's how we're going to get success. This still needs to stay in our package. Right. It's got a lot of life left in it. It is another one of our Seeds of Hope hybrids, so we want to focus on that. 12 top 10 finishers in first trials again this year. So to your point, and when we look at those top 10s, many of them were within the LSD, so it's equal to number 1. Right. So unmatched consistency in our set 104 test over the last 3 years. And again, showing great yield in 2022. So still super high on 5245.
Yeah, like I mentioned before, 13 times it's won first trials, and then it had another great year this year. It didn't win a first trial, but like you said, it was right there. And it also won the showcase at Glenwood, Minnesota, and then it also won our elite test at Valley Springs, South Dakota. So really solid performance again and then it moves north so well for you guys in the north. If you're willing to go with a little later product, this would be the one I would choose.
Yeah, if you're really chasing high yields in southeast North Dakota, 5245 is a hybrid to do it with. Yeah. So, but we had 268 bushels at Valley Springs, South Dakota, 256 in Ripon, Wisconsin, and 243 at Hull, Iowa. So the range that this thing can work in is just unbelievable. So 5377, a little bit newer hybrid, become a big favorite for the guys in Iowa. I get it. Make it a companion to the 5245 to really have some success there. Consistency again in 22 as well with this hybrid. I mean, the two hybrids we have here, 5245 and 5377, I mean, that's a pair that's really kind of hard to beat. 12 top 10 finishes in first trials this year. Whoops, I'm on the wrong slide on that side. Yield champ in 22, good no-till thing. Watch the harvest moisture when moving it north. So maybe doesn't have the north movement that 5245 does. That would be the only thing that I would say on it, but otherwise position it wherever you put 5245.
Yeah, the data was awesome. One showcase plots at Janesville, Denison, Minnesota, Morgan, Minnesota, La Center, Minnesota, and then elite trial at one in Austin, Minnesota, and Platteville, Wisconsin. So awesome data.
Yeah, 274 bushel at Morgan, Minnesota. 103-day hybrid, right? Yeah. And we planted late.
Right, and it's still
so.
Yield
do we really need to plant early to get high yields? That's a question we're going to answer in the Premier Agronomy Center next year.
Sounds good.
That's all we're going to talk about this year for this section for hybrids. There's a picture of me standing out in the field of the 5034 AA. Just love that hybrid, that dark green color. It's not short corn. That's mid-August when I'm standing out there. So last picture is catch the big one. When you plant Latham.
All right, you got to tell us, where did you catch that? That's a heck of a northern.
Yeah, I was up in Ontario on a fly-in trip last May.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it was a great trip. That's a little over 16-pound pike.
That's like 10 times bigger than the biggest northern I've ever caught. So that's impressive.
So, thanks, guys, for your time.
Yeah,
John,
thank you, Latham.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. Good job. All right, we're going to move to Amy.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. We have a couple questions that have come in. So one, a lot of questions on tar spots. So what are we going to do for ratings on tar spots?
So we were able to get some opportunistic ratings this year and a number of trials. We're still got to get through the data because there's multiple reps and stuff, but we're planning to do some updates. We'll get something out here December, January, and we'll update tech sheets so that you'll see some ratings on some hybrids coming.
I know you guys spent a lot of time in the field looking at tar spot this year. So, all right. And then second question, how will I be able to track infection for 2023?
So there's a website that's fed by a bunch of universities. So Iowa State, University of Wisconsin, South Dakota State, University of Minnesota, North Dakota State. It's a disease infestation website. So they put out a heat map on where the disease is. We'll send out some information when we send the rest of this data tomorrow, okay, with a link to that site. And that's a great place for you to go in and kind of watch the progression of not only tar spot, but there's about 5 different diseases that they track in there. Okay. Very independent, really good data.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, you'll be seeing a lot more from us on tar spot. We've really done a lot of work. I'd say more than anybody with those plots over in eastern Iowa and Platteville, Wisconsin. Yep. We got some great data to show there. So you'll hear more from us about tar spot.
Very good. And it doesn't rub off on your clothes. That's what I learned.
No, it doesn't rub off. You can't rub
You look
it
like
off.
you can scratch it out. It doesn't rub off on your clothes. All right, very good. Okay, we did get a few more questions in. So we will definitely answer those, as Lyle mentioned, over the next course of a week or two. So kind of stay tuned to your emails for that stuff. So we do have a drawing that we're going to do between our corn and soybeans. So we have some Latham swag gifts that we're going to give away. I don't want to look. And it is Steve Gaddis. So Steve, be watching for a package coming your way. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. I know Shannon's going to add a couple Seeds of Hope t-shirts too in there. So congratulations. Thank you for registering and joining us today, and be watching for your Latham swag. So with that, we're going to turn it back over to the product team and talk with John, Gary, and Matt on soybeans.
All right. Thanks, Amy. I think everyone knows we've got Matt Moore and Gary Geske. Matt is our soybean product manager, and then Gary is our guru for the North. I don't know what your title is, but all-knowing in the North, right? So happy to have you here today.
Thank you.
Yep. So do you want to start us in?
Yeah,
Matt?
absolutely. Great to be here. A lot of good information on the corn. We'll provide some on the soybeans here as well. You can see the slide here. I guess you mentioned it earlier, kind of how we do our testing through elite trials, showcase plots, and first trials. So I won't hit on that much further, other than just, the map there should give you an idea that we're covering our entire geography quite well with both locations and reps. So we're really confident in the data we have.
Yeah, we've got more locations than ever, and especially in the North. We've really invested more in the North, and I think that's part of the reason for the awesome performance you'll see. So really excited about that.
We've got a lot of good stuff to show. So we'll get right into it here.
Sounds good.
One caveat I will say with some of these, I'll call them some of our ultra early varieties, some of the earliest varieties in our lineup. We didn't get a ton of showcase plot data on these due to the weather events this spring that you talked about earlier. Didn't get a lot of showcase plots planted, but we did get our elite trials in. Obviously, we're in the first trials there. So 00725 is a brand new XtendFlex variety for us. It earned its way into the lineup with last year's breeder data. You can see that, not to get all nerdy on you, but 114% of a trial mean is unheard of. So it earned its way in that way. It looks that way again in our elite trials. You can see if you're looking at your the book we sent out with our yield data, some of those tests were pretty rough. Minot, yields were in the 20s, things like that. But it still pulled through. I guess I'd take that all in context with what the actual yields were. But we've got 100% confidence this one belongs in the lineup and is going to do real well for us as our earliest soybean. I'll move on to the next one here, L0136E3, another brand new one for us, our earliest E3 offering. Showed up real well. You can see there in Carrington and a couple other spots, 110% of the trial mean. I think this is a overall yield upgrade from what we had there. The 0225 was our former E3 in this maturity range. So super exciting. I like that the 2 gene stack on Phytophthora there.
It's tough to beat that.
Yeah, it gets out of the ground, and just I think that's a really key part of this being this early start. Awesome standability. We really like this one. Move on to the next one in our lineup here, 0254 XtendFlex. You can see the first trial results, elite trial results. Overall, just outstanding. Really maintained its height through harvest. Great IDC score you can see there. I think Gary told me this one, it'll lean a little bit for you. It's a leaner, not a lodger.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yep.
So a couple of awesome, 2 good years of really awesome yield data gives us a lot of confidence in this one.
Yeah, these early 3 that you just started on, Matt, the 254, I've been telling you guys all along through the summer and going through the elite trials that this has been one of my favorites because of the plant architecture and the health and everything that it's got going for it. And you alluded to a little bit the fact of our elite trials and the importance that we use on those for the North, because quite frankly, these early varieties don't show as well in first trials as we really hope, because the fuller season ones usually win when we go to the northern trials. So we rely very heavily on the elite trials. And when we're coming in at 110% and 106% and so far over the trial mean, these early ones, 2 of the 3 here are brand new, and they're there for a reason. Look at the trait package that you have here. We've got leaders in the E3 and leaders in the XtendFlex. We got 2 on the early side. So great genetics, great trait selection, and the first 2, the 725 and the 136, quite similar with the lateral branching and the moderate plant height. 254 is going to be a little bit taller, so if you get on some of those more stress-prone soils, this would probably be my choice because we've got a little bit more plant height, and harvestability will be the key.
Sure. So what are you seeing, Gary? You talked about traits. What are you seeing, any trends in the north on trait-wise on soybeans?
Well, that's a great question, because we keep trying to fight against the weed pressure that we have and everything going on, and quite frankly, when we go north and west, the kochia is a tough one to battle, and so by default, the XtendFlex will probably be on more of the acres because E3, the Enlist chemistry, is got a challenge trying to control kochia. So I really see XtendFlex and the Xtend beans to have the key going up north and west.
Yeah, I would say we're seeing that trend to XtendFlex, and I would just encourage people, if you want XtendFlex, get them ordered, because anytime you see a shift like we're seeing, usually things get sold out because it's a little different than what we thought was going to be the case when we planted. So yeah, get those XtendFlex varieties on order.
I would.
Yeah, great point. In addition to XtendFlex varieties, those exciting new ones, we still have a couple of Roundup 2 Xtends in our lineup. This is our earliest one. Fact of the matter is, they're still in our lineup because they just keep producing. This one in particular has a tremendous track record, multiple years of first trial wins, elite trial wins, the 0282 Roundup 2 Xtend. I don't know, great IDC score for those areas that have to deal with that issue. Nice lateral branching on this one. Nice showy bean. We've got a pretty decent supply of this one yet, but to your point, John, I'd get on it sooner than later.
Yeah, these XtendFlexes are like you said, they're in the lineup because of the genetics and the performance. It's just tough to kick them out when they're doing as well as they are.
Exactly. We'll move on to the 0293, another very consistent variety that's got a nice stable look. You can put it just about anywhere. High yield environments, low yield environments, shows up well. You can see the elite trial data there. Very, very consistent. Top 5s, multiple years. This one, as noted there, I'd kind of keep it in its zone or north. I wouldn't push it too far south. There's probably other options if you need to do that, but another proven performer in our lineup here. Similar to the 0425, just a little bit later, in 04 maturity range. No cyst with this one, as with a few of these early ones. If that's an issue for you, treat it up with Saltro. We don't probably hit on that enough, Gary. You want to take a minute to talk about how Saltro not only, is awesome on SDS environments, but SCN as well?
Well, thanks for the lead in on that, Matt. But, oddly enough, Saltro actually performed as well going north on cyst-infected field as it did on the south on SDS, and for as well as this Latham Socio Plus performed in the trials, winning again this year. Saltro with Socio Plus powered by Viantis actually won 3 of the 5 plots we were in. So the addition of Saltro to a seed treatment is now proving itself to be very positive, both north and south.
It's a great thing about being an independent company. We can take just the best products, choose and pick. So we can have genetics from one source, and we can have the best seed treatments from another source to bring forth a great package to our customers.
Yeah, and also through the research trials, we also learned that Saltro with the Latham Socio Plus actually outperformed other SDS components from competitors in 4 of the 5 trials.
Wow.
Yeah,
strong.
you had some awesome info there, and we'll be sharing some of that with everybody. So look forward to that. Yeah. Lastly, on the 0425, I guess I'd just say this is more of an offensive type of soybean, but it does seem to hold its height okay in some of them lighter soils.
It's got a little bit of plant height. It moves west well also.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it did really well in the elite trials, several seconds and thirds. I mean, very strong performance there.
Yep. Key soybean for us in this maturity range. 0438, another Roundup to extend. Same story as the previous one, right? It's just a rock steady, proven performer. You can see the agronomics on this one are just second to none, right? White mold, IDC, brown stem rot, it's got it all. We again, multiple years of data there that you can page through on your own, but I guess I'll just say, don't write these Roundup 2 extends off just because of, we think of it as we're excited about the Extend Flex beans, right? Obviously, but just because this is maybe a little bit older technology, to John's point, the genetics behind some of these is why they're still around. So don't discard those.
Right.
There's a lot of yield in these yet, and this is a nice early ironclad bean.
Yeah, there's a lot of these are ironclads. So if you're looking for an ironclad bean, obviously great proven performance here.
Yep. And if you're in narrow rows, this would be a great choice for you in that maturity range. Here we go. The 0528, otherwise known as the Geske soybean. Gary did an awesome job of scouting this one last year. He picked it out and he pounded the table for us to put it in the lineup. And I think he grew it for us. Got it up there at your place.
I'm smiling for a reason,
rock,
Matt.
right? Yeah. You can see the
outstanding.
Yeah, you can see the yield data there. It won just about everywhere where it was. And if it didn't win, it was real close. So,
and in our elite trials last year too.
Exactly.
That was part of my point when we had our product team meeting, that it's a winner and it's going to continue to be. But what I'm really most excited about is the addition of another trait, right? When we go north, sometimes when we're planting beans after a corn crop, we're challenged by chemistry, carryover chemistry. Mm-hmm. That's where the GT27 beans really fit in, because you've got that insurance, if you will, about chemistry carryover. And besides the fact that it just flat out yields, this one's going to sell out. If this chemistry, if this technology fits your farm, get it on order. This one, along with the other ones you're going to be talking about, Matt. I love this chemistry or this trait package.
Yeah, these are selling out. The LL GT27s are really going fast. So get them on order. And there's very few companies out there that are even selling this technology. So proud to be independent and able to bring these forward.
Look good, harvest good, plant architecture. I could go on and on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good looking bean. Like I say, it brings a little uniqueness to our lineup. One of 3 new LL GT27s we'll talk about here. So we're super excited about it. Another new one, 0694 Extend Flex. This is one of our better IDC beans in the entire lineup. So for an 06, it really performs. It tested earlier we tested it as an 07 last year. It's a little earlier than some of the competitive checks we had it in. So you can kind of move it in and out of its zone as you please. I think. I wouldn't go too far south. I meant to say you could kind of move it north of its zone.
Yeah, like you said, that 1.7. That's about as best in class in the industry on iron chlorosis.
Yeah, and I guess it was kind of noted during the earlier conversation with Lyle. IDC issues were very prevalent, obviously up through a lot of Latham country, especially up in the geography where an 06 would be planted. So this one really shined through in those tougher IDC environments.
Yeah, we'll sell out of this one too. The Extend Flexes are going fast.
Yes, they are. Luckily, we have a few of them, right? So here's a 0728 to pair with the 0694. I'd call this one a little more offensive. But this you'll see this shine through in more of those high yield environments. It's got decent agronomics. You can see it's got that stacked phytophthora I've mentioned a few times. It's very noticeable early season varieties that have that stacked phytophthora gene, they just come out of the ground faster than the ones that don't. There's a lot of things going on there. Gary works with seed treatments and things, and this has kind of got some built-in protections to get that thing off to an early start. So.
Yeah, in the north, the phytophthora is just critical, and having a double stack is awesome on this product.
Yep, and another good IDC score here too. So.
Yep.
0785. This bean, several years of great data on it. Every time we talk about it, I say we should be selling more of this one. It's got the agronomics, it's got that stacked phytophthora gene again. It's got the track record. We've got the yield results. We know where it should go. I'd call this a focal product in the mid to late group 1 maturity range. You can see it would be ironclad it doesn't have a brown stem rot gene. Otherwise, it would absolutely be ironclad.
So we may even have it ironclad in the future. We'll have to evaluate it and see.
Yep. This one doesn't get enough run. So if you're in, if you can sell an 07 or plant an 07, take a look at this one.
Yeah, definitely.
Here's the second of our 3 new LLGT27 soybeans, 0945. And I'd tell you, looking at them out in the field, out in the plots, structurally, they're very similar. Agronomically, they're very similar, the 05 and the 09. And they're beautiful looking beans. Like if you want to show for some of these photographs of things we have behind us, pick one of these.
Yeah.
Beautiful looking bean, and it yields. You can see through the yield data there.
Everything good I said about the 05, ditto.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Yep. Great product.
We like this one too.
And an ironclad too in this 09. So really strong.
And we could mention too, the LLGT 27s we brought in have a pretty attractive price point for those that are looking for some extra value there.
Right.
So give these a look.
Get them on order.
Another brand new one, 0959. I really like this one. This is going to do some good things for us. We've got a pretty decent supply of it. Orders have been brisk, so I wouldn't put it off too long. But this has got out of the gates tremendous yield results. You can see first trials, elite trials, showcase plots.
The data was awesome.
Yeah, I'm just looking at my notes here. In our elite trials, we kind of break those tests out by roughly half a point maturity range. So it was in the 602 test. It was just from like an 05 to an 09. It won that, and it was third in the next test in the 603. So it was one of the latest soybeans in the 602 and probably the earliest one in the 603, and placed right at the top of both of them. So it's a really good bean. Pair it well. It will pair well with the next one we'll talk about here. The 1090, or in a minute here, I guess we'll talk about 1094s, maybe if you're on the E3 platform. But before we get to that, I guess we'll talk about the 0984 Extend Flex soybean. Another strong performer, multiple years. I'm sounding like a broken record, but it's we've got all these great beans, and it's a similar story, right? They wouldn't be in our lineup if they weren't awesome. Providing choice with trait platforms and maturities and things like that. We have all these great beans, so I guess it could probably be a difficult decision sometimes to decide which one to plant, but that's why we do it, right? To fit your exact needs. So it really proved itself. It was new in 22. This past growing season was brand new, so we got a broad look at it. IDC I think is a little bit better than a 2.5. I think we can adjust that down a little bit.
Oh, great.
Yeah. And those things, our rating system, I'll just say, we're very conservative out of the gate, especially on the new ones. We don't want to overpromise anything. If we're not 100% sure, what we should rate it, we'll rate it a little weaker than maybe it is until we see it. And like I said, we saw it on a bunch of acres this year. IDC, as I mentioned, was a big issue in a lot of places, so we got to run it through the ringer, and it'll probably move to a little, a 2.2 or 2.3. We'll fine tune that here yet.
So
I think we did see it was better in elite trials this year.
Yep.
You're right.
Right. There's several of these products that were so close to ironclad. I'd love to move them into ironclad, but just not quite there.
Yeah.
We got a high standard, but there's several of these that are really good defensive beans, even though they're not ironclad.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit, and we love our ironclad designation, right? But just because it doesn't have the ironclad logo on it, don't discount it.
Right.
We don't want to not sell it just because of that. This one's got some offense to it too. It'll win some plots for you. There's the 1094 that I alluded to earlier. Another steady, consistent variety. We've had it for a few years, and it just keeps showing up at the top of the plots. You can see it one in Renville there. This one has the chloride excluder gene for those high salt type of soils. And it's got a pretty good IDC score on it. Not having a phytophthora gene keeps it from being ironclad. So treat this one up. Use a Soy Shield Plus on this one. It's like a steady Eddie for you.
You'll probably be hearing more about the excluder gene because that's something that we keep looking at as a product team, because I see that the beans come out of the ground quicker, faster when we get into those challenging soils. I think it's going to be one of these parts of the puzzle that we're going to continue to look at.
Yeah, definitely. We're really seeing some great things. Like on the later side, 1995 has been so strong too, and this maturity has been great. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
something we're looking for.
And we're starting to see some more varieties with that excluder gene. That came from breeding in southern genetics, right? It's, 3 and 4 maturity range beans, and it's slowly working its way into the breeding of earlier soybeans, where it'll help us up in our geography. So
yeah.
1219s is next. Another steady, proven performer for us. Right in this maturity range, we have several E3 options in particular that just they complement each other well. I would say you can kind of look through and compare agronomics. This one also has that excluder gene we just mentioned. You can see all the first trials and elite trials there. It's there's no doubt about this one. It belongs on the farm.
Yeah, we're starting to get where we're getting more data, and this thing showed up on the showcase and the elite trials. It won the elite trial at Mantador, North Dakota, and won the showcase at Bellevue, Minnesota. So really strong performance on this one.
Yeah. 1383 XtendFlex. This was new for us this past growing season, and it did not disappoint. Tons of great yield data there again. Great scores on IDC and white mold. All around, it's got a great defensive package. You can see that ironclad designation there for a mid group 1 soybean, especially in the XtendFlex package. We really like this one.
Yeah, 3rd place at Bath, South Dakota in the first trials, which statistically was a win. So really excited about that. And then it won in Appleton, Minnesota in the showcase trials. So really strong performance of this 1.3 maturity XtendFlex. And we sold out of this one last year, so get this one on order if you want some of it.
Exactly, and it'll pair well with 1439s that we'll talk about in a second here. Before we get to that, though, 1392s, I'd call this another key variety for us in this maturity range for all the reasons listed there and all the accolades, plot results. I mean, we've got multiple years of yield data on this one too. We can get that for you if you need it. This year's data looked awesome as well.
Won our elite trial at Olivia, Minnesota, 116% of the mean. So really strong performance here. This
thing just yields. Yeah. Only watch out is if SDS is an issue, treat it up with Saltro. 1439s, mentioned that a second ago. This is a brand new one for us. And boy, what a stud this thing is, right? This is kind of got a unique genetic background to our lineup. I will say this is kind of we sold out in about a week, back in September.
Right.
This was kind of a limited release for us. We saw from the yield data that it belonged in our lineup, definitely. So we wanted to get our hands on it. Parent seed was very limited this spring. So kind of a soft launch, I'd call it. We've got the results. So I'd encourage you to spread this one around, get as many folks as you can to take a look at it this year. Set yourself up for success for next year with this one.
Yeah, we're really going to ramp this one up. And man, the first trial, we won 2 first trials with this. And then we got the first trials at Albany, Minnesota and Milner, North Dakota. And we had 3 seconds and a third in the first trials. So
yeah,
really strong.
It's just awesome. You can see the IDC score there really shines in a lot of the areas that we'd be planting this a 1.4 XtendFlex. So get a look at it. We'll have more for you next year, I promise.
Yeah, sounds good.
The third of our LLGT 27 new launches here, 1452. Again, another awesome results. We tested this one in the elite trials last year, and it yielded right with our 1558s that we'll talk about in a second, which is kind of the bellwether for sets the standard for yield in this maturity range. I don't know. Did you see much of this one, Gary? It's getting a little south of your
further
zone.
on the south side, similar architecture to the other ones. Good plant health, good, really a vibrant green color. It just does everything right. If you want a picture of a soybean plant for your product catalogs, any of these GT27s are it.
Right.
And again, an awesome bean, and the trait fits.
Right. The 1648 LLGT27 has been a star for us. And
Yes,
this is
it
a
has.
great one to pair with that. They just really work together. And it won the first trials in Starbuck, Minnesota. Outstanding there. It won the showcase at Frankfurt, South Dakota. And it won the elite trials at Watertown, South Dakota. So just a great product to pair together with a 1648.
John, I saw a presentation that you put together on all of the first trial wins, and I sure saw LLGT 27s a lot in the leaderboard.
Are you rubbing it in, Gary?
Just a little.
No, you should, because you pushed for these beans, and it was a good call for sure.
Did you hurt yourself patting yourself on the back?
I'm good.
Okay, yeah. So, John mentioned this is a great partner for 1648s that we'll talk about here in a couple slides. I think 1648s, one of its major plays is white mold. I think our 1452s is actually a little bit better than a 2.2. A 2.2 is a good score.
Right.
I think it's actually a little bit better than that. So to your point, great partner for 1648s. 1558 E3. Just plan it, right?
Right.
I mean, we could spend all day talking about the yield results for the last couple of years on this one. It wins everywhere it goes. Top fours or top fives, top tens. Just there's no real chinks in the armor with this one, right?
No, for sure. I mean, a year ago we had RSMs and fist fights over this thing because we were so tight on supply.
Yep.
I'm joking about some fist fights, but it was really a tight supply, and now we've got supply of it. And man, plant this everywhere. Ironclad, tons of yield. The showcase. Well, look at the data yourself. I won't read off all the showcase wins, but really strong performance.
Yeah, I would say to your point about supply, that sales have been brisk. Orders have been coming in really quickly here, especially lately. But we grew a huge pile of it.
Right.
Just I don't know.
We're determined not to. Well, we're going to sell out, but it's going to be a lot of units.
I heard Amy's buying shots for certain scenarios. So if we sell out of this one, we'll see how that goes.
You guys are right. It doesn't pay to wait to write the order, because a good plan in fall is still a good plan in the spring. Look at what we learned on the corn this year. Delayed planting, still stay with what you have on the crop plan in the fall, and it still works. Put your plan together and get the order in with the traits. The packages are there, and place the order.
Yeah, we got 3 great trait platforms to sell off of, which most companies have one. So we're really in a great spot there.
Right. We'll move on here to the 1648s that we just kind of talked about. We're currently sold out of this one because of how it yields. Quite honestly,
Right.
it's just we've had this one around for a few years. Actually, it's proven itself. Something we don't hit on a lot, so the LLGT27, obviously, LibertyLink or glufosinate. The GT is the glyphosate or Roundup. 27 is the class of HPPD, class of herbicides, group 27 herbicides. That's very commonly used on corn. There's nothing currently labeled for post application on soybeans, but it's used almost everywhere in corn, right? So we don't really pound the table on it. There's a chance, especially in some of these drier years, that some of those corn herbicides have some residual left in the soil when we're planting beans. We don't have any scientific data on that or anything like that, but
Sure.
There's a reason that these LLGT27s keep yielding at the top of the plots. So that could be part of a piece of the puzzle. Well, otherwise, if you can't get your hands on this one, 1452.
1452,
Great
or
option
even if
for
you have some 1648s,
Yeah, split it up.
split it up,
Get a look.
partner them because you're going to like it. They're both great yielding products, both first trial winners.
Yeah, awesome bean. 1758 E3, super sound agronomics on this one. It's not quite ironclad because it doesn't have the brown stem rot gene, but otherwise it just shows up everywhere we put it, right? First trials the last couple of years. We know what we have with this one. It's another one that I'm repeating myself over and over, but it's just, if you're planting a 1.7, this should be part of the lineup.
It's got a lot of yield, and it's done it the last 3 years. It's really been strong.
Solid, proven performer, absolutely.
Yeah, look at the elite trials. It won elite trials at Sioux Rapids, Iowa. It won the showcase at Independence, Wisconsin. So great performance, definitely in this maturity. It's tough to beat.
Yep. We'll move on to 1784 XtendFlex. This was new this past growing season. It proved itself over and over. There is I want to note there's a key change coming here. We talked about how our rating system is and how we're very conservative sometimes. And white mold's a tricky one anyway, because it doesn't always show up in the plot you want to see it, right? We had it rated as a 3. It's much better than that. It's more like a 2.2 or a 2.3.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
news.
it's better than average, I would say. So we'll be changing that. Fortunately, the cycle of we print our product guides in like June or July, right? So it's we don't know the yields and the characteristics till after it's out. But take a note of that if you would. White mold is not really a watch out on this one at all. Sudden death could be though, so put some Saltro on this one. Put it in your higher yielding environments, and you'll be very, very pleased with the performance of 1784.
Yeah, I know the background of this thing, and it's always the background of these soybean genetics have always been able to yield through issues, it seems like. So I love this product and thinking this, if you're looking for an XtendFlex in this maturity, it's a great one to go with.
Absolutely. We're getting kind of probably a little late for this group, but we'll talk about a few of these. John needs to talk about 1947s everywhere we go. This thing is awesome, right? We knew it was going to be. We grew a huge pile of it, and you sold us out of it. Congratulations.
So, John, why is it called 1947?
Well, great lead in, Gary. Well, we called it 1947 because to honor our 75th anniversary, 75 years, and 1947 was the year we were founded. So,
and you picked a great bean to do it with.
Yeah, I'll wear myself out, pat myself on the back for naming it.
Yeah.
I got lucky, well, a little bit lucky, but no, really excited about this bean. It's going to be a star for us in the future. First trial winner. Elite trials did extremely well. It's ironclad. So if you can get your hands on it this year, great, but we'll certainly be talking about this in the future as well.
Yep, we're excited about this one. But we have a few others to pair it with too, so don't despair if you can't get all you need. And like you say, spread it around, plant the package right. Super shows up really well in some of them lower yield environments, some of them tougher situations that we saw this year. It really shined through. So excited about that one. 1948 Roundup 2 Extends. This is probably our best white mold soybean.
Oh yeah.
It's our best rated one. It's another straight Extend soybean that you just can't beat it yet, right? So someday the day will come when we won't have these anymore. But the genetics of this one, the background is just fantastic. It's got the stacked phytophthora genes there, as you can see, ironclad with just real sound agronomics. You can put this one just about anywhere.
Yeah, it's a great value too. The Roundup Extend. It won the elite trials at Austin, Minnesota too. So it's over the last several years, it's been tough to beat, and it's an ironclad. So
exactly,
really strong.
Yep, we like this one. 1995s. This was last year's top selling soybean. It's probably one of our best iron chlorosis plays, especially in this maturity range. You can see again multiple years of solid data on this. It was our top seller last year for a reason. So pair it with the 1947s that we just talked about.
Yeah, make a great pairing.
Yep. Pair it with the 2049s we'll talk about here in a second. right this, late 1, early 2 maturity range, especially if you're talking E3 platform, we've just, it's our lineup is second to none, the options we have there. So this thing is I'm still super confident in it. It'll show up again well for us this year, and we've got a pretty decent supply of this one yet. So
Yeah, this is one. The only weakness is we use Saltro on it. The sun death syndrome is average, but man, other than that, the thing yields great defense. Just a proven product. Brown stem rot is perfect resistance. Got Phytophthora, so love this bean.
Yeah, it's been a horse for us. Along with this one, 2049s. We call it the Yield King in this maturity. It is. You can read the sheet there. If you read last year's yield results, you could write a book on the yield results of this one, right? IDC is good, average, but not quite good enough to be ironclad.
Close, but
Close.
Yeah, not quite there.
But yeah, all around. I mean, if you've been selling Latham soybeans at all in this maturity range for the last few years, you know what you've got with this one, and it belongs in your field.
Yeah, this thing not only won first trials, but when I was looking at the data closer, this had 8 top 5 finishes in the first trials. So think how tough that is to have 8 times in all those trials to be that strong.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing can go anywhere in northern Iowa and southern Minnesota, into South Dakota, Wisconsin. It's just a really strong product, and even though it's not quite ironclad, it's close to ironclad.
Very versatile with super high end yield potential.
Absolutely.
You know, Matt, you keep talking about almost sounding like a broken record with all of the wins and all of the top yields, but you have to understand that it takes a very good bean to get through our elite trials.
Yeah,
it's so
tough.
The funnel narrows down, and we really are bringing the best of the best. So it's just more, what trait do you need on your farm to fit your acres, and then start looking at the maturities, because they're really all winners.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're right. Through the just kind of as a side, through the elite trials, through all the tests, it was about half and half, whether it was one of our experimentals that we're looking at maybe bringing in or what's already in our lineup. I think that's about a perfect mix. It shows how strong we have it and what we can improve on. So there'll be some interesting, fun stuff coming this spring into next summer about next year's lineup. But we're always looking, right?
A challenging product team meeting coming up.
Yes,
Yeah, we'll
exactly.
have some tough choices for sure. Some will be no-brainers, but there'll be some tough choices for sure.
So with that, I think we would take some questions if you have any.
All right, we do have questions. One was, which this goes back to some of Lyle's comments on planting soybeans. What seed depth do you recommend? Yeah,
Lyle's doing his planting depth dance back there. Generally accepted 2 inches, and the key is don't move up or down depending on your soil condition. Wait till the soil conditions are, fit for planting. Don't adjust your planting depth based on, don't do it the other way around.
Right.
The days of seeing a few beans on the top, you're just right, is gone.
Right.
We've got to be deeper. Every seed is important for yield, and so get them down where they belong.
All right, very good. Well, all I can say is, holy cow, plant a package. And then on some of the ones that are sold out, what would you suggest? I mean, is there something that where they can go to see what would be great to look at as an alternative? Or what are your guys' thoughts on that?
To me, I would take the depth of our lineup is so strong. I mean, we've got certain products that did, won first trials, but statistically, there's so many products that are right there, winners. Look through all the data. I sent out all the first trial data in a spreadsheet, and then obviously look through all the data that we sent you. But there's a lot of products that are overlooked that are really strong. And like Gary said, they had to come through our elite trials to make it in the lineup. They're a really strong product. So I love I love the winners, but obviously there's a lot of overlooked products too.
All right, very good. We did get quite a few questions in. So again, I'll look in the next couple of days that we'll be addressing those and getting those sent out. But wow, good job, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now I like this slide. I could watch this all day. I don't know if Gary would agree with me, but Gary's a Packers fan and I'm a Vikings fan. I think Matt's a Vikings fan, but No, you're going to get a chance to win the Jets tickets, the Vikings Jets tickets in a couple weeks. So make sure you I'll send an email out with the winners tomorrow. And then we're also going to have some additional sessions on alfalfa coming up. So stay tuned there. We've tried to do all this in the same day, and it's too much. So we're having additional sessions on alfalfa. Gary will have one on seed treatment. We're going to be talking about our R&D with Bob Foley coming up soon. So really excited about those. So stay tuned. We'll have more sessions. And then all these are going to be recorded and in the dealer center. So be looking for those. If you want to go back and look at some of this again, you want to see some of our great humor that we had today, you can do that. Or obviously, if you want to look at some of the data online as well. So yeah, really excited about what we've got coming up here in the next couple weeks. All right, who's got the clicker?
Sorry.
Okay. I guess I gotta get the clicker. So we're excited about the Sowing Seeds of Hope campaign. I think everyone knows about the campaign now. The 3937, 5245, and 6477 are all, we're donating $1 to the American Cancer Society for each one of those products. And actually, if you go on Facebook, we're auctioning off tickets to the Minnesota Vikings Dallas Cowboys game this Sunday. And we're hoping to raise as much money as we can for the American Cancer Society through that. So really excited about that. And then also in November is Lung Cancer Awareness Month. So we encourage you, we're going to do something on social media, probably Facebook, but take a picture of yourself in something white, a white shirt, and submit the photo to Kurt Ludwig at the number on the screen there, and then include your name, obviously, in your dealership, and you'll be on the Facebook post that we have. So really excited about this program, and you can be a part of the next Facebook post as well with the Sowing Seeds of Hope campaign. Okay, I'm going to let Amy talk a little bit about the customized sell sheets.
Oh my goodness. Information overload. Great job to the product team. There are so many good things happening right now. So to kind of summarize it all up, we do have a great tool on our dealer center. It's called, and Seedware. It's called a sell sheet. And you can actually customize it from top to bottom. You can put your own contact information in as a dealer, and then you can actually customize it by customer and be able to put a customer's name on it, and then pick 3 products, maybe corn, and 3 products of soybeans, double-side it, stick it in your seed guide, and then hand it off, because you guys have too much. There's a lot of stuff going on.
A lot of data here, no doubt.
So plans a package. Again, they both corn and soybeans. There's so much going on that plant a package and get it all out there.
Yeah, this really, you can summarize things and make it customized for your customer. These are the 3 soybean products. These are the 3 corn products I think would be great on your farm. So this is something that we need to get more folks to use, because it's a great tool to be able to customize an offering for your customers.
It was very good. So get with your DSM or RSM if you have more questions about it. Your SAM can also definitely help you on how to maneuver through Seedware to get one printed off and sent your way. So there is a how-to tutorial at the end of the corn yield books. So you can go ahead and look at it there and have fun with it. All right. So as we wrap up today, again, thank you everyone for joining us. I hope you learned a lot. I know I have. I've taken a lot of notes. A couple things just to remind you. The product team did a great job summarizing everything for us. Now it is our turn to get out and make some things happen. Again, there are some shots on the table here for a couple products. So I'm expecting this team to belly up to the bar and make some things happen. So the early commit, wow, what a program this has been. Based on your feedback, we decided to do the early orders a little different this year, and the early commits have really taken off. So remember, you have to confirm your orders in Seedware against those early commits. You'll be getting a Excel spreadsheet if you haven't already, just to make sure you know who's been submitted and where you might be off a little bit. Look at those. Those are due December 15th. And then we also have a cash discount that is coming up on December 15th as well. Chris says it's our biggest one. So it's kind of a big deal. So don't forget about that December 15th timeline as well. Less than a month.
It's coming up fast. It's hard to believe.
Thanksgiving's right around the
Yeah,
corner.
right.
And then it's going to be the 1st of December and then the 15th.
And
Yeah.
Christmas. So
Oh, don't talk. That's just too soon. But anyway, so kind of work with your RSM or DSM again, kind of put a plan in play and go see some customers if you haven't done so already. Then the second one is confirming those orders. So again, a lot of great information here that you might want to go back and touch base with some of those customers on. Look at the orders, and as well, we talked about the payment. It sounds like there's some cash flow going on out there. So there's a lot of opportunity to make sure you capture that. And then look at the package type. A new program this year, the mini bulk program. Actually, it's not new. We added some money to it though.
right, we went from $1 discount to $2 discount. So take advantage of that. It's a great thing for your soybeans.
$2 on soybeans. It's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
Right? It's a
Sure.
big deal. So make sure you remember to utilize that program. If someone is struggling a little bit, throw that out there. We've actually got quite a bit already firmed up in this package type. And then the last thing is shipping. Our warehouse is already fast and furious getting things done. Our trucks are ready to go. We've already sent a couple loads out. So if you are going to take some shipment early, get that seed in your shed so you guys can turn it around and get it out to customers. Be talking about that and looking at that as well. So a lot going on both sides of the fence with product and then with sales.
For sure. Exciting time.
I know, it's like Christmas,
Yeah.
which is almost here.
All right. With that, I want to say a big thank you to everyone for joining us. Thank you for your business. Thank you for all that you do. We really appreciate it. If you have questions, please let us know. Talk to your RSM. Give us a call, any of us. But I hope you all have a happy Thanksgiving with your families and a great holiday season. So thank you for everything you do.
Thank you. Have a great day. Bye, guys.